We are live.
Yay! Not adjust your set. Lady Thistle has not changed her cosplay today to look like Richard. Uh, Lady Thistle's not feeling very well today. She might join us, she might not. But Richard was nice enough. He had some things drop out. He was going to join us today. I am old new dude. She is
The mother of Baggins. Sorry. And he is.
Richard of House York, Ash's trueborn son.
Nailed it. I even
there. You
got
go.
the right way.
the yeah no you were like maybe this way. um we were going to talk about the Alaris Sphinx Sorella, and then if Danny was pregnant at the end of the books, but we're saving those to next week for definitely be able to have Lady Thistle. She's the one that broached those topics. We want her to be there for it. So today we're going to talk about the several different theories that evolve around the Purple Wedding. Our book club is getting close to the Purple Wedding, and this was another of Lady Thistle's ideas to go ahead and throw some mud on the Purple Wedding. So, and I asked. Um, I asked if Richard was more than willing and definitely capable of discussing the
Sure.
multiple theories involving the Purple Wedding. Who was the target? Where was the poison? Who did it?
Do
Who
the
are the
pigeons
players
really want to share
involved?
Tyrion?
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to say it's pretty much just down to two people, um, Joffrey and Tyrion, depending on which side of that spectrum you fall on. It kind of self-explanatory answers some of the other questions, where the poison was, stuff like that. Um, but I figure we could probably do it this way: go down the Joffrey side of it uh, at first, explain poison, where it's at, the players who are all involved, possibly. Because there's definitely a lot of different people whose names could be thrown up that would want Joffrey dead. So I mean, there's multiple players that could be involved into that. The implications for King's Landing if those players are all working together. Um, and go down the Joffrey side, and then go ahead and flip it after that, and go down the Tyrion side and answer some of the same questions. Um, and see. I know where I fall on it, but just to give light to both sides, I don't want to squash one and promote another. I would soon just talk about both of them. And
I like to waffle back and forth. I think they're both fun.
well,
So,
I've always said, I mean, a lot of my the opinions depend on the last person I listen to.
yeah.
But when it comes to stuff like this, I trust my encyclopedia Richard, um, that could possibly speak eloquently about the Joffrey theory.
So this is Storm 60. Tyrion 8. For those that want to try and pull up the proper chapter in an ebook or something, which is what I was thinking about doing. which is why I was trying to get that information. But yeah, sure. So I do think that Preston probably is the best presentation of the alternative theory, or the leading alternative to the conventional wisdom, which is, I mean, of course, the conventional wisdom is that Elena took the strangler out of Sansa's hairnet, right, and poisoned the wine cup. I personally think that for that to work, it would be somewhat less risky of death for Marjorie if she was the one who actually did the final drop of that poison. And Preston has certainly some interesting arguments. So we know that, for one thing, Littlefinger is likely to want Tyrion dead. In fact, I think most people would say that that's still something he's trying to arrange at this point, right? He's pretty blatant about it with Sansa in the Vale, right? That he's trying to murder Tyrion. He's been trying to murder Tyrion since the beginning, right?
Done.
And we've seen the Strangler used, and that's used to argue both sides of this issue, right? Preston's argument is that we know that it's nearly instantaneous. Waving from the wall says Kristen, and who is this lady, and where is have you met her?
Real quick. Hi, Chris.
Chris. And Pod.
And Pod, I've been waiting for you.
So the argument in favor of the conventional wisdom is that we know that the Strangler is specifically used by dropping in wine. One of the counter arguments to that is, well, yeah, but it apparently takes a drop of, because basically Melisandre left like a drop for Crescent, and it kills him instantly, and so you could pour wine on something, including into a pie, and therefore, and if the whole goal is to make it look like somebody's choking on the pie, and that's arguably less risky, right? If this is something that kills right away, and that is, well, there's a chance that your target could be drinking wine without having eaten any pie in a while, especially when there's 77 courses and the pie is near the end, right? The likelihood that your person would actually consume some of the wine without taking a bite of pie is pretty high, right?
Isn't it even also considered bad form for them not to partake of the pigeon pie?
Yes, that's my question. Is there like the symbolism of the pie? Would it be like bad luck if they're not like eating a piece of it? Like, is that like the safest bet course? Like when a bride and groom now feed each other cake or?
I think it's pretty certain that they're drinking the wine.
Definitely drinking the wine.
Yeah, definitely. But
my point is, I think there's some risk there that they might only be drinking the wine, and so if you poison the wine, there's a chance that they could drink the wine without it being accompanied by any food at the time, especially given how late this poisoning takes place, right? And so, what if something goes wrong while he's cutting open the pie or something, right? Anyway, the point is, if you could certainly see why people have used this argument for both sides, right? Well, you could sprinkle wine on the pie, you could put wine in the sauce, you could put, you can certainly see why people have made this argument, right? And of course, I always like to say that George believes that his work is open to multiple interpretations, and that one interpretation being correct doesn't necessarily rule out alternative interpretations, and that he probably thinks that these are reasonable debates. In fact, he's always talking about, I think people argue about this he thought people would argue about whether Jon Snow is dead. I think he probably would like the Quentin is alive videos, right? I think that's kind of his point, his thing, right? He likes ambiguity and mystery, and it drives conversation, and it's why people continue to talk about these books, and why people continue to talk about other ambiguous works like his mentor Gene Wolfe, as I always bring up.
Okay,
so
all right, if we're going to discuss the Joffrey first, then
Joffrey being is this the Joffrey killing himself, or is this
no the Joffrey being the target for the target for the poisoning. Okay. Let's discuss who are the potential people that are at play that would want Joffrey dead. Okay.
Tywin.
Exactly. That's the first one I was going to say. Would be Tywin, without a doubt.
Lady Thistle, I see you. I mean,
sort of.
No, that's okay. But I told her she'd come on without camera if she needed to today. Hey, Sanji. Tywin. Okay, the reasons Tywin would possibly want Joffrey dead is he is more unruly than he had been led to believe. Definitely not easily manipulated into doing what he wanted done. For the same reason that was it Bronn I don't know if it's in the show or in the books, discusses that.
Ron in the books does this. Ron in the books definitely brings
Ron
it
in the
up.
books definitely like
Yes.
and seriously thinks she's got this one on lock, and oh, how quickly.
Yeah, that Tomlin would be basically that Bronn says the wrong brother's king.
Have you ever
I was
wondered
just
what?
looking up that exact
Yeah.
passage right now. Like,
Yeah, have you ever wondered?
See, I got you in my head, Lady Thistle. I knew what was coming.
Yeah, and isn't that the one that sort of associates eating like a capon or some other bird with a?
yeah, I'd love to read the scene. If
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Are
If you
cool.
can.
Keep talking though, because it's going to take me a minute to find it.
Okay, no
I
problem.
actually wondered about that.
wish
How
it was-
often are pies served and when? Like what setting? Like the birds and what kind of pies or yeah. But it's like a brand new note and thought, so I have no idea.
Now, is it pigeon pie or is it dove pie?
Pigeon, I think.
Pigeon pie. It's like
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't
I'm
think
reading.
it's.
I was in the back of my mind. I was thinking it's pigeon, but I'm like, well, I mean, doves. I mean, I can't remember. All right.
I think in the Night of Seven Kingdoms at the Butterwell wedding, the pie has like all different kinds of birds fly out of it. But as far as when they serve, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I tried to do some searches as well, and I'm not having much luck here because I thought it was something about being easier, but that doesn't seem to be the case because I'm not finding it under easier.
So, I mean, Tywin is definitely in the running for wanting Joffrey dead, but Tywin does not particularly like or trust Littlefinger. So would we think that Tywin would involve Littlefinger in the planning of killing Joffrey?
I mean, he expresses a pretty deep distrust for him before he even sends Tyrion to King's Landing. So
that's my question.
So I think the stakes are too high.
Yeah. Well, just like with the Red Wedding that Tywin is involved with, that we know he's involved with.
I don't know. I feel like there's somebody feeding either Bronn or Shay has to be feeding information to Littlefinger. One of them has to be, because it feels like I think we're supposed to believe that that's why he knows that, why he's able to tell Sansa that what Tyrion did with his first wife.
Stop and think. Littlefinger is the owner of multiple brothels, which he's never invited me to any of them. But Shay being a lady of the night, if you will, he would definitely have access to which we see him in the show utilize an intelligent prostitute for other things than prostitution with Rose, even though she's not that she doesn't have that role in the books or anything, but he does have access to more intelligent prostitutes. So he would have access to Charles, access to an intelligent, scheming prostitute that can be placed with either Tywin or with Tyrion, which if he was placing it with Tywin, he would know about Tywin's likes and dislikes in that field. And then the opposite happens, that he didn't get it in with Tywin. She got in with Tyrion by Bronn's messing that up. So he still gets Shay in with a Lannister. It wasn't the Lannister that he wanted, but it still works to his favor. That
I do kind of like the idea that all four of those guys are working together, though, right? Because we sort of suspect that Bronn and Tywin and Shay are all sort of working together, right? Because Bronn's the one that arranges for Shay, and they won't tell Tyrion who they got her from, and it seems likely that would have been Tywin, right? And we know she goes to Tywin immediately after being with Tyrion, right? And gets essentially hangs her for finding her in his bed.
Right.
Do you ever feel like there's times, and I hate saying this, but where the show was legitimately pointing cheek at those kinds of mysteries. Like,
Oh yeah.
Shay says a few times, when I was 13, I moved from, and then that's it. In the books, you said you were, you said you were a whore for your father, and she's like, I was, because he didn't like my cooking. Like, we know very little about where she came from by design, and I sometimes feel like the show kind of added
Oh
to
yeah. I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I think they do a lot of that sort of thing of kind of trying to hint at some of these behind the scenes things that George may have told them are valid interpretations.
Well, I mean, my thing with the still with the Tywin Littlefinger is basically he tells Tyrion as he's getting ready to send it to King's Landing that if the small council gives you any grief, make it smaller, heads, pikes, that type
Yeah,
thing.
that's
So
right. That's a good point. He can't be that enamored with Littlefinger or Varys or maybe even Pycelle if he's willing to tell Tyrion that he's got free reign to kill them.
Exactly. Yeah,
Or he
There's
does
no-
trust one of them, and he just has to lump them all in together, because if he leaves out the one he does trust, it makes that one look all the more suspicious.
That's true too. I didn't think about that. So yeah.
Sure.
Now would
And maybe he knows Tyrion well enough.
Yeah, if that's the case, would the person that he is in, not the cahoots isn't the right word, the person that he is utilizing that is on the small council, then you would think that that person will be the one that ingratiates themselves to Tyrion the most, making them irreplaceable to
I don't doubt that
Tyrion.
Dorcas. I don't doubt that Dorcas is definitely, because he's telling everybody as like Cersei has him read, right?
Right.
Cersei's like, oh yeah, he tells you the spider tells you just enough so that you'll trust him, but he's holding back from you. He does that to everybody,
Right.
And so certainly that's true, but
and then we see Littlefinger basically making himself
scarce.
scarce, but is he telling Tyrion about the plan? He's telling Cersei about the plan to get the Tyrells. So he's making himself more useful to Cersei than he is to Tyrion.
Well, no, Tyrion suggests that, and he volunteers to go.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would argue that Littlefinger is going to make himself the most useful to whoever. I mean, he says it all the time. He's like, sometimes the best move is like random shit, so nobody can really pin down what you want. And so, like, maybe in that moment he's making himself more useful to Cersei, but who's to say it's like to make himself useful to her in the long run? And later, in fact, we hear that she is so kind, she's sending him these tapestries, right, to the Vale.
Yeah.
So
she knows there's a debt owed there.
We know he's a long game player, so he's like, yeah, I'll suck up to her now. I might need something from her in the future, and we don't know what there's all sorts of theories about these damned tapestries, these thrice damned.
Yeah. And Cersei talks about them too. She talks about how he requested them.
Yeah.
She mentioned that he seems totally unconcerned. She's like, he doesn't seem very concerned. In fact, he's more just engaged with these old hunting tapestries of Robert's. And she's like, so it's like, oh, whatever.
Hey, did you find it, Lady Thistle?
I did, yeah. And
okay, you want to go ahead and read that?
He's so unconcerned with diplomacy that he's doing diplomacy. Like, basically, it's like what she's. But yeah, I did find that passage.
Okay.
Of course, now my Kindle is taking forever. So this is Bronn and Tyrion talking. And Varys is here too. Yes, the king, Tyrion muttered. My nephew is not fit to sit a privy, let alone the Iron Throne. Varys shrugged. An apprentice must be taught his trade. Half the apprentices on Reeking Lane could rule better than this king of yours. Bronn seated himself across the table and pulled a wing off the capon, Tyrion's capon. Tyrion had made a practice of ignoring the sellsword's frequent insolences, but tonight he found it galling. I don't recall giving you leave to finish my supper. You didn't look to be eating it, Bronn said through a mouthful of meat. City's starving. It's a crime to waste food. You have any wine? Next he'll want me to pour it for him, Tyrion thought darkly. You go too far, he warned. And you never go far enough. Bronn tossed the wing bone to the rushes. Ever think how easy life would be if the other one had been born first? He thrust his fingers inside the capon and tore off a handful of breast. The weepy one, Tommen. Seems like he'd do whatever he was told, as a good king should. A chill crept down Tyrion's spine as he realized what the sellsword was hinting at. If Tommen was king... There was only one way Tommen would become king. No, he could not even think it. Joffrey was his own blood and Jaime's son as much as Cersei's. I could have your head off for saying that, he told Bronn, but the sellsword only laughed. Friends, said Varys, quarreling will not serve us. I beg you both, take heart.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I just want to point out that Tyrion even said, I could have your head off for that, and later that's like so flipped around and used against him.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, it's talking about pour it for him. He's going to want me to pour it for him. He's talking about pouring wine for him.
Yeah.
It sounds like the purple wedding just in a conversation.
Right. Now, one problem with this, of course, is that it's associating both the wine and the. Hello, friends. I'm glad to see you on this day.
Go to Mariah. Me too, because she'll always be my baby.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful the way George uses all those words that are associated with the purple wedding in this conversation, in the order that he does and the way he does.
Right, like it's a capon, it's a small bird, just like the other pie. I don't recall giving you leave to finish my supper, right? So Joffrey eating Tyrion's pie, finishing his supper. And then it's a crime to waste food. Is it like almost directly called back to when Joffrey says it's ill luck not to eat the pie?
Right.
Yeah, like there's so many, and it's so well done. I love it.
Oh yeah.
And that's where we know that it is ill luck not to eat the pie. So if ever there was a course to poison, even after 77 courses, it's going to be that pie.
And part of the fun of George is that that he does like to plant seeds in multiple directions and likes ambiguity. So I actually like the fact that there could be sort of interesting things in multiple directions that he gives us, right? And that that you can. So there's certainly. I kind of prefer the conventional wisdom on this one, just because it gives you the greater symbolism with the Sansa and the purple serpents in her hair and so forth. But I do think that he likes to do this to us.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. We're still on the Joffrey is the target. We've talked about Tywin. The other obvious person would be the Tyrells. The Queen of Thorns grabbing the poison
from the hairnet.
Yeah, from the hairnet. You want to
this from a shot.
Right.
And like I said, I really prefer, as I said, I really prefer Marjorie to do the deed. Although I've heard people argue for Garland.
Yeah, that was one of mine. That I'm on the Garland for the Tyrion part of it. I do like the Marjorie, because she would know when not to drink the wine if she's poisoning Joffrey.
Risky for her, though. I mean, literally everything on the line. She is about to be the queen. And Garland the gallant. He saved Sansa during her wedding to Tyrion and gave her comfort when no one else did.
Well,
do you think if he's going to give her that kind of comfort and she's a stranger, he's going to let his sister bed that little monster? I think it's Radio Westeros that makes the case for Garland, and one of their biggest arguments is that it's supposed to look like the Red Wedding. So the Red Wedding, the person who's being nice
to the victims is the one who orchestrates it, right? So most of the phrase are not being very nice, and but the one that actually orchestrates it is being extremely complimentary and friendly. And I can't remember off the top of my head who that is, but there's some new phrase.
Lame Lothar.
Okay, yeah, we do see that right away, right? We've already seen that, and you already see that in the Hoster's funeral chapter, right? That he's being polite, and Blackwalder is not, right? Blackwalder's the one sniping at them, and Lame Lothar is like, apologies, but it is true. He's more diplomatic. And so Garland is the one that's always complimenting Tyrion and in fact standing up to Joffrey in a way that if he almost, for him to be constantly complaining about Joffrey's behavior, it almost feels like he has to believe that Joffrey's about to die. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's so risky making an enemy. I've always thought that about Tyrion and how he makes an enemy of Joffrey, and like, are you stupid? Why do you make an enemy of Joffrey? And the fact that Garland is willing to make an enemy of Joffrey might speak to this idea that he could have, at a minimum, he might be in on things, and he may even have decided on everything.
Right. But I put the Tyrells into one basket because they would have to have a unified front. Queen of Thorns grabbing from the hairnet, whether she gives it to Garland or she gives it to Marjorie, it's still the Tyrell basket. We got the Tywin basket. We got the Tyrell basket. Now, I have heard Durin Martell's name mentioned as potentially wanting Joffrey dead.
We've also left out the most fun one, which is Cersei.
Yes. That was going to be my last one on the Joffrey because of how fun it is. But I have heard the Doran Martell's name mentioned, and I can't remember.
Well, he does talk about how he wants to destroy everything that Tywin holds dear before taking out Tywin. So the idea that he would want to kill all of his offspring first, right?
I just don't think he would do that.
What's that?
I don't think he would kill the children.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just don't think he would. He.
Oh yeah.
We don't punish children for the sins of their fathers in Dorne.
Yeah, and Oberyn's very adamant about that too.
Yeah. And I don't believe
for him to want to expose Joffrey, you know what I mean, in front of everyone, though.
Right.
Okay.
So all right. Well, let's take Doran off of the table then. Just because we're just given so much of how he loves the children at the water gardens, all that stuff. Okay, definitely take him off the table. And then let's talk Cersei. Well,
Cersei only works if Tyrion's the target, right? So that moves us into Tyrion being the target.
Right.
Well, I mean,
right.
Right, because she wouldn't purposely.
No, you're right.
No,
you're right. Tyrion's the target, and Joffrey's the collateral damage.
Cersei doesn't work for Joffrey because anytime we're giving a character that has a POV, it kind of excludes them from certain things that are questionable in the books because we have their POV. So I
don't know about that.
Sometimes George is real good.
In this case, I think it applies, but not every time.
Yeah, like I said, we've gotten one Melisandre chapter.
Yep.
Okay, he's real good at skirting information when he doesn't want to reveal that information.
Right.
So,
this is too much. It's too much, too big, too recent. There's no way she wouldn't have thought about it if she killed her own son.
Yeah, on purpose, especially.
Or on accident.
Especially even more on accident, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, right, so we're dismissing that one even from the second discussion. All right.
I mean, I think so, but
now Littlefinger on the Joffrey one.
What do you guys think in the chat? Tell us what you think about Cersei and the chances of her being the poisoner.
She would have
or
had
behind the poisoner. Littlefinger, whether he wants Joffrey dead or not, is his hands involved in this, and the if the Queen of Thorns takes from the hairnet, we are told by Littlefinger where the hairnet came from, and the person that he said that gives Sansa the hairnet is working for Littlefinger. So Littlefinger hands are involved. It's whether or not he wants this person dead or this person dead.
Okay.
But either theory, he's still in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether he's wanting that person to die, or he's just fulfilling a job that is being needed to done by Tywin or the Tyrells.
Oh, okay,
Devoted to Mariah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Devoted to Mariah says, no way Cersei's power extends to her children unless she was trying to poison a Tyrell. Well, the concept is she was trying to poison Tyrion, which we jumped the gun a little bit. We intended to move on to the idea that Tyrion was actually the target, and that it was a mistake that Joffrey ate his pie.
I'm just going to say, if it's Garland in the end, I swear to God, I'm going to start him a whole damn fan club. Okay. Devoted to Mariah, Hero. That's our song. Because then he came along with the strength to carry on.
Okay. Now I think that Garland is the one that puts the poison on top of the sauce, because it's lemon sauce that is put on the two pies that Tyrion and Sansa have. He gets the poison from his grandmother. He puts it on Tyrion's. And then Joffrey eats it by accident. But we'll start back.
We made a mistake here. We were supposed to go ahead and give an intro here, probably, right, and say that. We talked about the conventional wisdom is that that the wine is poisoned and Joffrey's the target, and then we continued to talk about Joffrey and talking about how the sauce and the pie, or somebody could have poured wine in the pie or something, right? Because we know the strangler works by dissolving it in wine, but that doesn't mean you couldn't. We also know that a tiny drop being left for Crescent kills him almost instantly. So we maybe not instantly, but very quickly he begins to choke.
Yeah, well, an argument to be made. All right, it is typically put in wine, but in that chapter, it did also the Maester saying that there are other things that it dissolves in, but if it's dissolvable completely in wine, it could be argued, depending on how thick the sauce is, that it could be also dissolved in sauce.
Okay, I'm itching to jump.
There's a few reasons why. There's a couple more reasons why I like the conventional wisdom and Joffrey being the target. One, I mentioned of course, the Sansa symbolism of the purple in her hair and so forth, but purple serpents. But you've also got the magic hairnet, right? This is going to take you home. This is the magic hairnet. Although you could argue, well, yeah, but isn't part of getting her home taking out Tyrion, right? So I could still see that argument potentially. But
for me, it makes the most sense for Littlefinger to be working with a Tyrell, because for him it's like a win-win situation, right? Like, no matter what, he wants Tyrion out of the picture. Exactly. Out of the way, and he knows, like, he's going to have to work. He has to work with someone. Like, he can't. What is he going to do? Like, Caesar Dantos, like, take your pig bladder and hide this little bead of poison in it. But like, I feel like it's a win-win for him either way. He's gaining something, and then he has knowledge on someone.
I do think
later.
I think the best evidence is probably the wine changing color, right? The wine starts off red, and then it's either purple or dark red.
Yeah, could you put it into the sauce?
No. I'm saying that the best evidence that's just the wine is that the wine changes color. It starts off just red, and then it becomes purple and dark red in the third. So there's we can read this. I got these pulled up.
Does Tyrion mention the color when he pours out the dregs at the end after Joffrey drinks? Okay, cool.
Yeah, Tyrion. It's purple. It's purple at that point. So it starts off. The first time we hear the color is a red torrent. Let's see here. The wine washed down over his face in a red torrent. So this is when it drenched his hair, stung his eyes, burned his wound. So that's the first time. So that's when it's red. Every time after this, it's either going to be purple or dark red.
I mean, that can be accounted for with
different
light changes, different backgrounds, how much.
Sure. I'm just saying that this is one of. I'm certainly open to the idea that George likes to plant things in different directions and be ambiguous and so forth. I'm just saying this is some of the most solid evidence for the wine, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the second one is Joff yanked it from his hands and drank long and deep. His throat was working as the wine ran purple down his chin, right? Okay, and then the third one is the dark red, which is it's the pie, pie. Jeff took another drink, or tried to, but all the wine came spewing back out when another spate of coughing doubled him over. His face was turning red. I can't cough. The chalice slipped from his hand, and dark red wine went running across the dais. Okay, and then the fourth one is he went and scooped it up. There was still a half inch of deep purple wine in the bottom of it. Tyrion considered it a moment, then poured it on the floor. Right. So those are the four times that we hear about the color. So the first one is red. The second and fourth ones are purple, and the middle one is dark red. So that's something that people point to and say, this is George telling us that the wine changed color when it was poisoned.
Well, I mean, it goes from purple to red back to purple. So
I know.
I don't know.
But could it have gotten slipped into
could be
food
deliberately
without changing the color of the food or the sauce? Like, can you get it into somebody's pie without?
Wait.
Or is it colorless, odorless?
He has. All right, stop. Just listen for a second, okay? This is the way my brain works. Joffrey has food that belongs to Tyrion with the sauce in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
The wine is red before that happens. When he goes to drink again, the wine that comes out is purple. Could the color distortion happen from the food that is in sauce, particularly the sauce that is in Joffrey's mouth?
And there's only a half inch left, and he's been coughing it back up, and he's been trying to drink and coughing it back up, and it could have gotten into the glass that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not told what the color of the wine is in the cup. We're told what the color of the wine is it is running out the side of his mouth.
So
sorry, Pot is hilarious. Varys shot him with a tiny poisoned ice dart, which melted and left no trace. We know Varys uses ice, both milky and wine. This was foreshadowed when Ned was killed by ice.
Oh my god!
Where is
Okay,
I need a bell.
Here's my biggest problem with the purple wedding and the wine being the thing, because if you're gonna kill the king, you're telling me that your master plan involves giving a deadly poison in the form of a piece of jewelry to a to a drunk night fool guy who's then supposed to give it to a young teenage girl who's then told to wear it to a wedding, at which point an old Mr. Hairnet roll a nat 20 on dexterity or her sleight of hand check, pull this stone out of this hairnet without anybody noticing, and then pass it to somebody else who then is going to put it into a wine cup that their very close and very precious to them relative is drinking out of. It's ridiculous, you guys.
Chain of custody, Your Honor. We've got problems.
Right. That's part of the alternative theory, right? Well, what if they just poisoned the pie? Right? What if somebody who's distributing the pie just poisoned the pie?
I mean, like, it would be so much easier. It would be so much easier to have one single paid servant put poisoned cream on top of one piece of pie, presumably to be consumed by one single person. You know what I mean? Like, somebody walks up and puts the cream on Tyrion's pie.
Yeah.
Like, there's your poison delivery right there. You know, it's discreet, it's targeted. You don't have to involve teenage girls who may change their fashion statements
Oh my goodness.
ideas before the
Okay.
most important social event of their lives. You know what I mean? Like, it just would be so much simpler that way.
What if both are true? All right, hear me out. We have Littlefinger that wants Tyrion dead
Hey,
to
Becky.
free Sansa from that wedding so he can marry herself or marry her off to Harry the heir to whatever he needs to do with her to get her claim. Okay. Then he has the server put poison in the sauce to kill Tyrion. Now, the hairnet scenario that works its way around to Joffrey, Littlefinger also accommodates for the Tyrells to free Marjorie from Joffrey. Both can be true. One being true does not make the other one untrue. Both can be true. Both are facilitated by Littlefinger, and the discrepancies in the wine can be marked off to that part of the purple wedding is correct, and the pie can also be correct that it has the poison in it because Littlefinger wants Tyrion dead. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that both avenues can still be true instead of one being true and one being false.
Well, everything that Ghost of High Heart has said thus far has been true. And
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm just like out loud musing like it. The Ghost of High Heart said. Sorry, Beggin, just like you're not paying attention to me.
I love that.
He's like, hello. But like, yeah, maybe both can be true because the Ghost of High Heart, like we get correct interpretations of her dreams thus far, right? Like every time.
Mm-hmm. She just uses like fancy metaphor.
Yeah.
Now I like that the Tyrells want Tyrion dead for Sansa's claim. Littlefinger wants Tyrion dead for Sansa's claim. The Tyrells don't know that Littlefinger wants Tyrion dead. He's making them think that he's doing them a solid by setting this all up for them, and Queen Thorne takes the poison, gives it to the man sitting directly beside Tyrion in the chivalrous and the always well spoken of and well spoken and taking up for Tyrion, even with the king, Garland. And he is the one that puts the poison in the sauce.
Garland.
I mean, that's what I think. I think that's what happened. I think that Littlefinger is
one of the reasons why I like yet another reason why I like the conventional wisdom is that the Tyrells tolerate they tolerate the marriage using the Lannister symbolism. They're specifically being told. We specifically have Littlefinger spreading rumors that Joffrey is a monster. We have them verifying that Joffrey is the monster. We have them still going through with the wedding, right? We have them like being okay with the Lannister symbolism this time, but then specifically correcting them on the wedding that actually sticks, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so you can see why there's plot reasons why that you would want the conventional wisdom to be correct here.
Right. But if the conventional wisdom is correct, wouldn't they want her to have her wedding night, the wedding ceremony, that the marriage is consummated? That would officially make her queen. And her marriage to Tommen.
Their whole point is to get Tommen, right?
Exactly.
But no. The symbolism of the maiden.
Yeah, she would not be.
If she consummates with Joffrey, she has to wait even longer to marry Tommen.
Right. Well, my thing is, they would want because it's even pointed out that she's not queen. The marriage isn't consummated. If the marriage is consummated and there's no heir, she's not going to be able to stay queen. Okay, she would still have to marry Tommen to continue to be queen But at the marriage wedding night, the consummation, she is queen, and Cersei is no longer queen mother,
Couldn't you
which
see
takes
your
Cersei
being
out of
like,
power.
oh, if they consummated, if Marjorie and Joffrey had consummated their wedding, I could totally see Cersei being like, oh, she's not a maiden, she's not pure. We need a pure maiden for Tommen. Like, nice job on your 1 hour as queen, but
But here's the thing: once it's consummated, Cersei's no longer queen mother. She has
right.
no say whatsoever. She is
No,
But no
Lady
woman,
Lannister.
She's the regent.
does. Like, and
Just the
Joffrey is a
regent.
king in his own right until he's 16, and so
Yeah,
he's
as long as
Yeah,
Tommen's
but
under
Yeah,
16,
she's still
Cersei's in
queen
power.
regent.
she's just a figurehead.
Yeah, no, she's ahead of the hand of the king. She's the regent.
Cersei is.
Yeah,
Yeah, not Marjorie. Not Marjorie. Until Joffrey turned
right,
16, they don't really have any power. So, like,
right,
why would they want Marjorie sullied to the not even
right.
a king yet? They want their
now, would it make
Yeah.
more sense for Marjorie to be pregnant?
not by Joffrey. They want Tommen.
No,
Okay.
yeah. Not if they're trying to kill Joffrey. Like, it does
Yeah.
make sense the way they did it. They do it at a wedding in a
Yeah.
public place where it
So there can be
it
no
reflects,
question.
you know what I mean? Like, why would they want to ruin their own grand wedding? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
their motives don't seem to be, very clear. Like,
Uh,
so they don't seem suspect. Like, so it's kind of the perfect time to do it.
Okay. Now, there is still one person we haven't talked about in all of this, and that is the Red Viper of Dorne, which doesn't he
Yeah,
even point out
but
that
we
he
have to
is
do the same
known.
thing with him. Don't we have to do the same thing with him that we did with his brother, though,
No,
right?
no. They're two completely different people. No,
He
stop and
supposedly
think.
doesn't kill.
Hear me out. Okay. The Red Viper comes because
Mhm.
Dorne tries to talk his brother out of what he's planning to do. Okay. The Red Viper of Dorne comes to King's Landing as a guest at the wedding. A man known for poisoning people he combats by putting poison on his weapons. Someone dies of poisoning at this wedding. He should be one of the prime suspects. He even
All
points
the
this
more
out.
reason for it to be a Tyrell.
Hold on, hear me out. Okay. If he is accused of this, he will demand trial by combat. Okay. And again, the same person that Oberon faces in a trial by combat would be the person that is called to face him. Jaime has lost a hand. The other Kingsguard are nowhere near able to even look at Oberon on across the battlefield. So it's still going to be the one person in King's Landing that the Red Viper wants to fight, who wants to kill. He wants to get that confession out of him. So him coming to King's Landing, someone dying of poisoning, and him being accused and then demanding a trial by combat puts him in the exact same spot that he ended up being in any ways because he chose to be Tyrion's champion. Now, granted, he's probably still going to die because he can't get out of his own way. He's winning the fight and then
And he plays
loses his battle senses and stands over a not dead mountain trying to get a confession from Tywin or whoever, and then ends up getting killed. But it is, in my mind, a plausible scenario that is going to happen, or that could happen. Now, again, it does not play well with the hairnet. Like I said, two things can be happening at the exact same time and be true
concert.
instead of one being true and the other one false. This
Sure.
gives us another possibility I think that Tyrion is the Tyrells in Littlefinger.
And
Could
like
Joffrey-
Davos said two things can't be true to Mel when Mel said the Blackwater. Remember, she gave him two endings, and he said, well, both can't be true, but both were true in a way, in their own, like, after a fashion.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, that's true.
Well, this
Yeah.
is the way I see it going down. Like,
Okay.
I think Littlefinger plans it. Tyrion wants Tyrion dead.
Mhm.
Uses that opportunity to steal Sansa.
Yes.
The chaos that he knows will happen when Tyrion starts dying right there on the dais, you know, like already creates a bunch of tension with the dwarf jousters, right? To create tension in between Joffrey and Tyrion, knowing that that was going to happen. And so then he gives Sansa the hairnet so that, not so that she can carry actual poison, but so she can think she was involved in the murder, which gives him a handle over her, right?
Ew,
she's now guilty, implicit. I don't know if you guys can hear that saw.
Ricky.
Just barely.
But so he has that over her then, right? So the Ghost of Highheart refers to it as snakes with poison. You know what I mean? Like, and so it makes me think of the devil and the devil's lies. And so if it had all gone to plan, what would have happened was the servant comes up, poisons Tyrion, everybody's eating their pie, the chaos ensues. Sansa runs away, notices the missing stone, and thinks, oh my God, like in those moments at some point in time, somebody poisoned Tyrion with this stone, you know, she would automatically get blamed because she went missing. So there's your fugitive status.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening instead, obviously, is that Joffrey eats the poison. Like, and Littlefinger knows that because of the bells. Like, but before that, he wouldn't have thought it was Joffrey. And when he says, well, somebody messed with your hair, like, yeah, people mess with Sansa's hair a lot. Marjorie does it. You know what I mean? Like, multiple people adjust her hair multiple times throughout the books. That's not a not normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you might wonder who took the stone out then. Well, like, my prime suspect is the person who put the hairnet in her hair, which is somebody we already think possibly works for Littlefinger, which is Shay. So the hairnet's all just an elaborate lie to get psychological.
Or maybe Dantos does it while he's escorting her to Baelish.
I mean, maybe, yeah. Like, I think Shay makes the most sense because
she's already touching it. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's all up in there. Like, but anyway, that like.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, well, did anybody hire Littlefinger? Did the Tyrells hire Littlefinger to orchestrate the murder then? And like, my tinfoil is that it was Joffrey. I think it was Joffrey that was like, I want you to kill Tyrion at this wedding. Like, I think he wanted Tyrion to have the most humiliating death possible for all the things that he's done to him. And so Littlefinger was like, wow, that works perfectly for everything I want to do. Like, I'm totally down. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Like, it'll happen. Same way he tells Sansa, right? I'll get you home. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of the details. You do this and that. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make it happen. And except Joffrey is an imbecile who's cruel and violent. So
listen, Joffrey accidentally kills himself is definitely above Garland. Like, Garland is a number 2 for me, but like, Joffrey accidentally kills himself has been my number 1 hope for the longest time. And even if it's not, it lives in my head because I love it.
Like, that's why he points at Tyrion as he's dying, because he's thinking to himself, like, oh my God.
You.
Like, you were supposed to die.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yes, Becky.
So we're saying Joffrey is in the mix with wanting Tyrion dead.
It's similar to the Cersei theory. It's just without the George needed to exclude or have Cersei be so crazy that she doesn't remember this or any of that stuff, right? But it's similar to the Cersei theory, but it's a little less reliant upon George deliberately omitting details or making Cersei so insane or whatever.
Yeah, okay, so George sets it up so that we automatically think that it's going to be the Tyrells. You know what I mean? And the Tyrells are the people that have adjusted Sansa's hairnet in the past. You know what I mean? Like they may do it again, and it's easy for Littlefinger to just say, "Well, didn't somebody adjust your hairnet?" And Sansa just fills in the blanks and makes all the assumptions, and we follow suit.
Well, Littlefinger followed suit too by just going off of what she said, correct?
Yeah.
She said it was the Queen of Thorns. Then he goes off down that road that she started by that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, so Joffrey's wanting Tyrion dead, sets it up with Littlefinger, but does not know the circumstance in which Tyrion's going to die.
Oh, that abomination is dumb.
Is basically wanting to kill his uncle without it being tied back to him, saving grace with Tywin and Cersei. Does not know the circumstances in which Tyrion's going to die, and ends up killing himself. And then that is the reason why he points towards Tyrion. And again, if Littlefinger is facilitating this, he's getting what he wants while still adding a service to somebody in power that now basically owes him one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that.
I love that. It's when she broke that down the first time, I giggled for days. I was like, "Oh my god, yes."
I don't giggle too much, but I was sitting there working it all out in my head. So the Tyrells are nowhere in it at all.
I don't
Sansa
think so.
pulls them in the soup when she's talking to Littlefinger, and they have nothing to do with this whatsoever.
That's always been the argument for like Preston's videos and stuff too.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
like
don't
that.
think that they're involved at all.
You don't
like
think
that.
they were working on their own scale to try to get Joffrey out of the way to move?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I
Again,
think they are, and so old new dude's argument that maybe that both can be true, that they can be trying to poison Joffrey and Joffrey can be trying to poison Tyrion, and
I mean, I like that, theory.
Yeah.
Theory. Like I like a lot of different theories. I'm into whatever you got going on but
well, I think that's really wicked on George's part, because he could possibly know that this is going to be one of those situations where one's going to argue this theory and the other side is going to be arguing this theory, and they're both right and they're not going to know it, and they're just still going to keep arguing their points.
Right. Well, or he just wants to plant seeds in multiple directions and have people debate. But your point is it's almost the same thing, right? Saying that he wants the book to be interpreted two different ways and saying that both things are true. Those are almost the same thing. You're just saying that they're literally both true.
Right.
Sorry, I interrupted this one.
A big part of it for me, why I like the theory that it was Joffrey is that, like, and how I even came up with it was because, of course, I'll make the theory fit what I want, which is I want all her children's deaths to be her fault. You know what I mean? Like, I want narratively, like, for it to all come back to her.
Yeah. Oh, your fault.
And her decisions are the reasons why her children's deaths come about. So, like, because of the way she treated Tyrion in front of Joffrey and allowed Joffrey to treat Tyrion this entire time, because of the way she's allowed Joffrey to become a tyrant. You know what I mean? Like, and so he thinks he can just assassinate people, like, and so that's on her because of how much she chose to hate Tyrion for her entire life, and then puts that off onto Joffrey too, and nurtures that in him as well, and ultimately leading to his death.
Quick question: do we actually get confirmation from Cersei that she was the one that tried to have Tyrion killed on the battlefield?
No, we never.
No.
Never.
Right.
Okay.
And
I didn't think so.
I've always argued that
aren't you cute? Confirmation.
I've always argued that I've always argued that it's actually funniest if it's actually Dorcas Varys. because he's the one that Tyrion puts in charge of trying to gather information about it. And if you read it as him having, and I mean, so he gives explicit instructions to Tyrion as to how to kill Tywin, right? He specifically kills Kevin. Basically, whenever there's a Lannister in charge who's competent, and keep in mind he's already made sure that Stannis is lost before attacking Tyrion, right? And he doesn't. And if Tyrion's not attacked, he's in a position of power at the moment, and he might be able to maintain some of that power, right? So he's always been about taking out the Lannisters that are consolidating their power in King's Landing,
right?
The competent ones. And he's in charge of the investigation. It just becomes, and it also creates more parallels with Baelish and Ned, right? The book is meant to be a parallel to a Game of Thrones, where Tyrion is Ned, and where Varys, or as we like to call him, Dorcas, because we believe Dorcas is Varys, or Dorcas where Dorcas is filling the role of the only one he trusts, right?
Right.
And he's warned that he trusts him too much, specifically by Cersei, but he's warned rather than Varys coming out and saying you trust me too much. That's partially different, but he's specifically told you're putting too much trust in this advisor. He's putting almost all of his trust in that advisor. He's the one that's in charge, right? And Baelish arranges for the Kingsguard to attack Ned. So it feels like that for all the parallels to hold, Varys should be arranging for the Kingsguard to attack Tyrion.
Okay, on that note, when I say that both things could possibly be true, all right, we have Littlefinger helping the Tyrells accomplish their goal of killing Joffrey. All right, if that's the way it goes. Do we have Varys helping possibly Prince Oberyn get what he wants by poisoning somebody at the wedding so he can be accused, so he can get his trial by combat with the mountain?
I would say that. Oh, sorry.
And the reason I say Varys to the Tyrion part is what you just said, that the person that they trust the most is the person responsible basically for their death. So if Varys Dorcas is the one that Tyrion trusts the most, then if anyone helps Prince Oberyn, then it would have been Dorcas to accommodate with the poisoning.
That points at Littlefinger killing Joffrey, doesn't it? Right?
Well,
doesn't that actually?
Yes. That would point at Littlefinger helping the Tyrells.
Which is which is the straightforward interpretation that George
straightforward interpretation. And the reason that there is debate on this is there are things that point to both, just like George all the way through the books.
Sure.
But the reason that there are things that point to both being the potential victim or the intended victim is because they both were the intended victim. It's just by different factions. One was the Tyrell with the help of Littlefinger. The other is Prince Oberyn with the help of Dorcas. They're being helped by two members of the small council to kill either the king or another member of the small council.
Right. So I would. I'm going to jump in real quick here with. I can't make this work. I'm going to jump in here real quick with. I would think that if Varys is going to do anything right now, if he believes that Aegon, whoever, a Targaryen needs to get back on the throne, he's going to be looking to the future for allies, and working with the Martells would be a very shrewd move on his part. At the very least, he's building relationships and he's making chaos on the other side. So it would make sense to me if he was a little bit in concert with the Tyrell or with the Martells.
Right.
And then ends up being like the bridge between like the Martells and the Tyrells, somehow needing to like.
On the Varys point, going back to exactly what Lady Thistle had read, he says, "Your king." It doesn't say our king. Varys Dorcas says, "Your king."
Varys Dorcas.
What's that?
Varys Dorcas.
Dorcas.
Truth is out there.
Yeah,
It's
which
like,
that phrase stood out to me when she was reading it. I didn't say anything then because I was listening to the caper and the wine and everything.
There, guys. This is just where
But
it's landing.
that's why I wear a hat. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, he's saying you're king because it's not his king. It's never been his king. None of them have been his king.
Right.
Um, the
Your king.
the argument could be made that maybe Ares was his king, but if he is the Blackfire that people say that he is, his king is in Essos,
Right.
which could possibly be the Phagon. I don't know. So
yeah, I mean, big surprise, but as far as who tried to kill Tyrion at the Blackwater, I think once again that was Joffrey. And the reason why
Little shit.
the reason
Yeah.
why I like that is because like then the Purple Wedding was attempt number 2.
Right,
and Tyrion
right.
thinks to himself that what someone's not as likely, I don't remember the exact wording, like you're less likely to have somebody cut off your nose at a wedding. And so it ties the murder attempts together. If we're talking cut off your nose to spite your face, like that Joffrey in his attempts to kill Tyrion ends up killing himself instead.
Oh, I love it so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I
Give
really
us a
like
song
that.
about the rat cook. That makes me that happy.
Yeah.
This really makes more sense than Cersei.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, without a doubt.
I love
Cersei,
it. It's
I
my
think
very
Cersei's off the
favorite.
table on this one. But
My
yeah,
kiss
the,
of-
the whole image of him pointing back, shaking all purple, everything back at Tyrion just
Yeah,
makes
like,
so much sense now.
It's supposed to be you.
It was supposed to be you.
Should have been
because
you.
In his
I used to.
in his beady little mind, he's done worked out. Oh crap!
Lizard brain.
I've just poisoned myself.
Oh, no.
His beady little brain. He can't vocalize. Hey, it's poison. It's poison. I
I used to
poisoned
think.
myself.
I used to think all of these were Littlefinger trying to kill Tyrion because we know Littlefinger is trying to kill Tyrion, right? We
Right.
certainly know he's trying to kill Tyrion at the end. We know he was essentially trying to kill Tyrion at the beginning. So I used to always think it's always about Littlefinger trying to kill Tyrion, but he pretty much tells us that it's not, right? He tells us specifically that he's found that he can't control Man and More. I mean, he implies that anyway, right? He says once they get the white cloak, I lose them, and we sort of know that Man and More is the one that was his that joined the Kingsguard. So the implication is that Man and More doesn't listen to him once after he becomes a Kingsguard, and so it kind of throws cold water around that idea. But that's how I used to think that all of this was about Littlefinger trying to kill Tyrion.
Yeah. Which I tend to blame anybody that doesn't have a POV. Just yeah, they don't have a POV. They're guilty.
Makes sense. All right. Well, we want to wrap it up. It's been we're well over an hour here.
Yeah, I think we covered the Purple Wedding pretty good there.
And the only reference to triplet Targaryens was Richard's shirt. That's one.
You guys should
All
see
right. Yeah. I everything should be on track for Friday. I'll be taking my daughter to get her enrolled in school early in the morning, so we should still be on track to Davos Friday. I want to thank Lady Thistle, Lizzie, and Richard for the guest appearance. I think on this subject, it would not have been right to not have Richard here.
Well,
I was so happy when you popped in there, Richard. I was like, yeah.
Well, I know that we both have different views on this subject, and it would not do the subject. It would not have done it justice to not have both sides, not argued, but thrown out there to see what sticks type thing. So yeah,
you can thank the Kelsey Swift conspiracy for allowing me to be here today because my meetings got canceled because there's a parade going on.
Okay.
Oh my
It would have
god.
been funnier if they had lost and the whole world blamed her, and I said that, but whatever, fine, this works too, right? And now we have to live in this world, so that's fine.
I was rooting for the 49ers, so what do
But
I
I'm
know?
happy you got the day off, Richard. That's dope.
No,
Yeah.
I don't have the day off. I just all my meetings got
Or
canceled.
your meeting, yeah. That's something. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody being here on Hump Day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Lady
you.
Thistle, I'm glad you were able to join us. It would not have been the same without you.
Absolutely.
Lizzie, as always, thank you for bringing your shame bell.
Always.
Oh yeah.
Shame.
Yes. And we will see everybody. Definitely devoted to Mariah doesn't always is not always able to join us on live streams. We do appreciate you being able to stop in. Sanji, appreciate you. You're not always able to join.
Always appreciate the regulars as well, of course.
Yeah, always definitely appreciate the regulars.
Love you,
Chris, Charles. I know Jeff's out there, and the Valencar is going to watch on the rewatch. We definitely appreciate him. So everybody, take care. We will see you Friday.
And Mother Roy, she's usually here, but she's not here
Yes,
today.
yes.
So you're doing okay, Mother Roy.
Yes, definitely. Don't want to forget her. And we will see y'all Friday. Y'all take care. Bye, everybody. Bye.